In the infrastructure operations, these are basically processes and activities that are going to support and manage the entire IT infrastructure, its systems, application, and data, focusing on the day-to-day activities. Some of the tasks that we would see an operations staff do are things like executing and monitoring scheduled jobs, performing timely backups, looking for signs of unauthorized access, making sure that you are following the operation procedures, working with your disaster recovery plans, and monitoring performance, capacity, availability, and the failure information of the resources. As we talked about with scheduling, it is a major function of the IS department. And scheduling, and I know you're thinking a second ago he was talking about people and their shifts. Well, now we're talking a little bit more about things like jobs that must be run. What sequence of job execution steps should we go through? And what are the conditions that might cause a program execution? Now, when we look at scheduling, things to remember is that you have jobs that are of different priority. Now, a low priority job is something that can be scheduled when time's available. A lot of your automated job scheduling software can provide extra control over that process. Your high priority jobs, like maybe a data backup, should be given the optimal resource availability. And there's something that should probably be done at low peak times of use. Your job scheduling is necessary to make sure that you're utilizing your resources in an optimal way. And if I use backup as an example, a backup of a server can make the files and services of the server unavailable to the network. And some of these backups can take a couple of hours or longer to be able to perform. So I don't want to do this at noon or 2 in the afternoon if that's when everybody's there at work, but rather for those low peak times. So that's another part of what you have to look at in scheduling. Sure, it's high priority, but at the same time, we need to be mindful about being efficient and effective. Now, your computer resources, as an example, should be used in a manner that benefits the entire organization. So we're going to have to talk about, things you would do to monitor the use of resources. And those resources that you want to monitor are going to be things like hardware, software, telecommunications, networks, applications, and data. You need to be looking at how they're being used, when they're being used, and that's kind of, a basic audit function. It can also help you find signs of tampering, signs of intrusion, and other types of misuse. Your process incident handling is a part of your incident management. It's a very critical process, and it needs to be attended to on a continuous basis. Your goal here is to increase the continuity of service by reducing or removing adverse effects or disturbances. Your incident handling should have a method of prioritizing those different types of incidences and in determining what the impact is or the urgency. Problem management aims to resolve issues through the investigation and in-depth analysis of a major incident or maybe several smaller ones that are of similar nature. The goal of problem management is to get to the root cause. In fact, it was once said by Dale Carnegie that a problem well stated is a problem half solved. So that's kind of our goal, get to that root cause. The root cause is sometimes called the known error. Now, what you might look at is finding a workaround. Maybe there's a workaround that's been developed to address this error state and prevent any future occurrences. Or, better yet, once you've found the root cause and now you have the known error, you might create the workaround until you can find a better solution. Your problem management and incident management really have a little bit different goals. Incident management is trying to return to a normal state, whereas problem management is trying to reduce how many times those problems happen. Let's talk about the detection, documentation, control, resolution, and reporting of abnormal conditions. The complex nature of software and hardware and how they interrelate means that there should be mechanisms in there to be able to detect or document abnormal conditions. That's logs, right? Your logs should contain the error information for applications, for systems, for operators, network communications, telecommunications, and hardware. Your log items should have minimum the date of when it happened, the description, a code that we can look up to figure out what exactly that error is, and the source of the error. We should also be able to see who has been assigned that error. Now, when I mean assigned, I don't mean who was responsible for the error, but that's also an important piece of information. But who I'm going to have working on it. And what's the status code of that problem resolution? And if it is resolved, or when it's resolved, we need to have a narrative about what was the issue and how it was resolved. The logs should be accessible to only those who are authorized, and those logs should be updated as the problems are resolved. In fact, I'll just say a little bit about logs. Because we're talking about detection, abnormal conditions, it could be security breaches. And logs contain the evidence we need to be able to figure out where those things happen. One of the sayings we have in the security world is that if you're a very good hacker, everybody knows about you. But if you're a great hacker, nobody knows about you. And logs are the separation many times. If I'm a great hacker, I'm going to wipe out your logs so you have no evidence I was there. A good hacker would do whatever they did, but not think about the evidence trail they leave behind. So logs then should be protected. They only should be allowed to be touched or seen by those that, as we said, are authorized. Now, also, IS management should ensure that problem management mechanisms are maintained, that they're monitored, and to make sure that outstanding errors are being addressed and being done in a timely manner. That means you should show the documentation on how to escalate unresolved problems if we need that kind of help.